Are you prepared to take the oath, Senator?
I am.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
that I will execute the office of President to the United States faithfully,
that I will execute
the office of President of the United States,
President of the United States faithfully,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve,
protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Inauguration Day holds a special place in American history, marking the official start of a new presidential term. But have you ever wondered how January 20th became the chosen date for this significant event? Originally, Inauguration Day was celebrated on March 4th, aligning with the end of the congressional term. However, with the ratification of the 20th Amendment in 1933, the date was moved to January 20th, streamlining the transition of power. This change not only reflected the need for a quicker handover, but also aimed to reduce the lame duck period for outgoing presidents. Join us as we delve into the fascinating evolution of Inauguration Day, exploring its historical significance and the reasons behind this pivotal shift in American governance. The origins of presidential inaugurations in the United States date back to the late 18th century, when George Washington was inaugurated as the first president on April 30th, 1789. Initially, there was no set date for inaugurations, and practices varied widely. The Constitution, however, laid the groundwork for these ceremonies, mandating that the president must take an oath of office. This requirement emphasized the importance of a formal transition of power. Over time, key figures like Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson helped shape the traditions surrounding inaugurations, introducing elements such as public celebrations and parades. These early events not only marked the beginning of a presidency, but also served to unite the nation. Understanding these origins helps us appreciate the significance of Inauguration Day in American democracy today. The original inauguration date, March 4th, was set by the first Congress under the U.S. Constitution. This date commemorated the day the Constitution officially went into effect in 1789. However, it came with significant challenges. One of the major issues was the long gap between Election Day in November and the actual transfer of power. This delay often left the country in political limbo and sometimes created dangerous uncertainties. In the early days of the Republic, this delay was seen as a necessary feature. Communication and travel were slow, and the new government needed time to organize. George Washington's first inauguration, for instance, took place on April 30th, 1789, due to the time it took for Congress to convene and count the votes. As the United States grew, the March 4th date became an entrenched tradition. However, it wasn't without its problems. Several times throughout the 19th century, this lengthy transition period caused significant challenges. Take, for example, Abraham Lincoln's transition in 1861. Between his election in November and his inauguration in March, several southern states seceded from the Union, plunging the country into the Civil War. By the early 20th century, the country's political and technological landscape had changed dramatically. Faster communication and travel made the long gap increasingly unnecessary. Furthermore, in times of crisis, the delay became more of a liability than a benefit. The tipping point came during the Great Depression. After Franklin D. Roosevelt's landslide victory in 1932, the Great Depression of the 1930s created an urgent economic crisis that profoundly influenced governance in the United States. As unemployment soared and financial instability gripped the nation, the need for swift and decisive leadership became increasingly apparent. The lengthy transition period between Election Day and Inauguration Day was seen as a hindrance to effective governance during such turbulent times. Public sentiment shifted, with many citizens advocating for a quicker transfer of power to ensure that newly elected leaders could address the pressing challenges facing the country. This collective urgency ultimately contributed to the ratification of the 20th Amendment, reflecting a desire for a more responsive and efficient government during a critical period in American history. But Roosevelt couldn't take office until March 4th, 1933. Outgoing President Herbert Hoover was unable to take effective action during those months, and the delay intensified public frustration. In response to this growing need for reform, Congress proposed the 20th Amendment in 1932, often called the Lame Duck Amendment. The 20th Amendment, ratified on January 23, 1933, was introduced to address the lengthy gap between Election Day and Inauguration Day. Its primary purpose was to shorten this transition period, moving the inauguration from March 4th to January 20th. This change aimed to reduce the time a president-elect had to wait to assume office, thereby enhancing governmental efficiency. Proposed in 1932, the amendment gained momentum through the efforts of key figures like Senator Arthur H. Vandenberg and Representative John J. Cochran. Their advocacy, along with the pressing need for a more streamlined process during the Great Depression, ultimately led to its successful ratification, reshaping the future of presidential transitions. The first inauguration, held on January 20th, took place in 1937, when Franklin D. Roosevelt was sworn in for his second term. This historic event marked the official establishment of January 20th as Inauguration Day, a change that was met with mixed reactions. Many welcomed the new date, appreciating the prompt transition of power during a time of economic crisis, while others were concerned about the potential for inclement weather affecting outdoor ceremonies. Despite these initial apprehensions, January 20th has been maintained as the official inauguration date in subsequent elections, symbolizing a commitment to a more efficient government and a timely response to the needs of the nation. Modern inaugurations on January 20th are grand events steeped in tradition, featuring key elements such as the swearing-in ceremony, the inaugural address, and various performances. Notable inaugurations, like Barack Obama's in 2009, not only marked historic milestones, but also reflected the nation's evolving values and aspirations. These events are significant as they symbolize the peaceful transfer of power and the continuity of democracy. In today's digital age, media plays a crucial role in broadcasting the ceremonies to millions worldwide, while public participation has expanded through social media platforms, allowing citizens to engage in real-time discussions. This blend of tradition and modernity continues to shape the inauguration experience for new generations. January 20th, as Inauguration Day, represents a significant evolution in American political history, reflecting the need for timely leadership during critical times. From its origins in the 18th century to the ratification of the 20th Amendment, this date has become a symbol of the peaceful transfer of power and the resilience of democracy. As we reflect on the importance of presidential transitions, it's essential to recognize how they shape the future of our nation. If you enjoyed this exploration of Inauguration Day, please subscribe, like, and share this video for more engaging content. Join us in celebrating the rich history and traditions that define our democracy.